Hi, it's Jane Mason again, and welcome to part 2 of how to shape your beautiful Christmas Kringle. So I have rolled out all 3 of our pieces of dough to make the braid or the plait. And I just, it was kind of boring after I did the first one for you to sit there and watch me in silence do the other 2 or repeat the same things over and over again. So if you remember, a Christmas Kringle is a beautiful braided Christmas bread, or celebration bread really, from Estonia. Estonians have it anytime, weddings, funerals, births, winter solstice, summer solstice, anything to celebrate, you can have this beautiful Kringle. And what you do is you make this gorgeous dough, and the recipe is either in my book, which is called Baking Bread at Home. The original title was All You Need Is Bread. Or it's free on the Bread Angels website. So if you go to www.breadangels.com, you will see, under free recipes, you'll see this one, Christmas Kringle. But what I've done is I've rolled out the 3 pieces of dough, and I'm going to show them to you in a second. And I have made a homemade marzipan filling to put in them. And this is marzipan. It's made with almonds and apricots, the dark kind, not the bright orange kind. And poppy seeds and egg white and some icing sugar. So if you think you don't like marzipan, but you do like almonds and you do like apricots, it's really worthwhile trying to make your own, because homemade marzipan is delicious, although I confess a lot of the commercial stuff is not that delicious. So this is a homemade marzipan filling. And what I'm going to do, the other thing I need for this part of the process is I need an egg wash. So this is the egg wash that I have here in this cup. But if you don't have an egg wash, you can use water or milk. You just need this at this stage. This is just for glue, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to tilt my video down, and you'll see my 3 pieces of dough, and then we'll carry on. So there they are, 1, 2, 3. And what you want to make sure is that they're really floating on the surface, okay? You don't want them to be sticking at all to the surface of the counter. So just, make sure. And they are, as you'll see, about the length of my rolling pin. Okay, so they're probably, that's 12 inches. Maybe, it's difficult to know. It's easier to do it the other way. They're only about 1/2 centimeter in height. Okay, they're very narrow, as you can see here. And they're about 10 centimeters wide. Okay, so the other dimension can take care of itself if you have those 2 correct. And once you've got them all done, what you want to do is shape out the corners, make sure they're nice and rectangular, and then give them all just one last tiny roll. Because in rolling the other 2, the first one, they shrink back as the gluten fights you. Okay, they shrink back, so you need them nice and long. So I'm going to roll this out again. I have to keep moving things around here. This isn't where I normally do my baking, okay? So nice and long. If you have to pin it down, that's okay. Pin it down and roll it with your rolling pin that way. Okay, pin it down. Perfect. And then I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to just get it up here. Okay. Super. There we go. So they're nice and long. They're about the same size. In fact, they're pretty great. Okay, now what you want to do is you take your filling. And again, you can eyeball this or you can weigh it. So let me just weigh this and tell you how much it weighs. Crowded. I don't need my rolling pin anymore, so I'll get rid of that. So this weighs, just waiting for the scale, 739. So that's 246, that's 250, roughly 250, okay, per portion. So I'm going to weigh out 250 grams. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, a little bit more. So now, literally what I'm going to do is you can't spread this, okay? So because it's too thick. But what you can do is you can, let me work somewhere where you can see me. Is this the best one? Yeah. So just take pieces of it and kind of squash them a bit flat. Okay, it's quite stiff, but it'll warm up in your hands. Okay, and you're going to lay it all along the length. And you'll notice if you use your very own homemade marzipan or you think of a stuffing for this, please see how I can pick this up. Okay, this is not liquidy at all. It's quite firm. I can squash it with my hands, so you can see how I can handle it. So it's like a soft Play-Doh. That's really the texture of this is like a soft Play-Doh. So you don't want anything too liquidy because you're going to obviously bake this in the oven, and if it's too liquid, you risk a little bit of exploding through the dough, and you don't want that. I mean, it will still be delicious, but it won't be beautiful. But as you know, our mantra is it's always delicious, even if it's ugly. But if you want to make something, you know, really that is also beautiful to look at, just make sure that your filling is this consistency of sort of soft Play-Doh. Okay. And what you want to do is you also want to make sure that your dough rectangles here, they're not too thin, because you're going to roll this up. You're going to wrap this up, the marzipan, so that each of the rectangles becomes like a rope that's filled with dough. Okay, so I'm going to stop you again because I need to do the other two, and it'll be super boring to watch me do that, but just make sure that it's nicely spread out, okay, nice, reasonably even, spread out, all down your rectangle of dough, okay? So that's one, and I'm going to do the other two and come back to you.